we're talking now about giving advice to friends now, but what about, for example, now if it's someone who you're romantically in a relationship with and maybe not giving advice.
Look at him rolling. He's like,
maybe not giving advice, but more so like you're I guess you're on your path, you're on your journey, and they're also on theirs. But it's almost like you started here, and then it's almost like you're veering in completely different directions. Like how do you deal with that? Should you advise them in a way that would align with yours? Are you understanding? Like, how would you approach that situation?
For me personally, I thought I needed someone with the same mentality. I thought that was what I needed. But then on my journey of unlearning a lot of nonsense that I was brought up with, and society sort of pushes.
I love that you said unlearning.
Yeah, you got to.
I love that.
Yeah, because there's no point just learning new things, just learning on top of nonsense, and it's just you just be like the lean tower of pizza, like just bare lean up, like like, it doesn't make sense. So through my journey of unlearning, I've realised that another person can have my other half can have a different mentality to me, as long as we mesh well and there is a part of her that I can't live without. Why does it matter if we're not on the same path? I don't need someone to have the same mentality as me, because for me and my missus, what I make up in our relationship for sort of drive and work ethic and just grind and going after it, she transcends me in emotional intelligence. And through my unlearning, I've realised that emotional intelligence is the highest form of intelligence, because for you to be able to see someone and then feel exactly what they're feeling is very underrated. Underrated thing to do. Like, but people just think it's just women just being emotional and things.
Yeah.
But it is. But emotions are a crazy thing. Like now, I'm in a professional setting. Emotional intelligence is very important. Being able to read the room, being able to sense things, because a lot of things are unspoken.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I think even when we were having this discussion, I don't know if I could continue a relationship with someone who wasn't matching me in the same way, if that makes sense. So, for example, like with me and my partner, I guess in terms of like our drive and stuff, I wouldn't say we're exactly the same, but we have balance, but in the same way. So, for example, if I'm 100%, he might be going 50% that day. But he'll still get the job done, but he'll just be going at 50%. But then if there's an off day when I'm at 20%, he'll be like at 100%, encouraging me to go ahead. But it's because we're both driving forward and we're both on that whole, you know, let's be successful, let's drive, let's do this, let's have our future set up, let's leave a legacy, kind of that sort of thing. And I just don't know. Obviously, it's hard to say if you haven't experienced it, but I don't know if I could build something with someone where we weren't in tune. For me, if I was very much like driving and my other half was like kind of chill, wasn't necessarily bothered, I guess, about, you know, I wouldn't say being successful, but he wasn't necessarily bothered about having a business or creating another form of income, for example. I don't know, I might be frustrated.
I feel like you're saying that because you have it. Let me give you an example.
Go on.
Say, for instance, you living your life now, and Mr. Man was an artist, say a painter.
Okay.
And he made your life easy, but he didn't necessarily have the drive or the ambition that you have. For him, it was more the art and striving for purpose. And so his purpose is not going to be as sort of eccentric as yours. How would you accept that, or not accept it? But how would you do? How would you think you'll be able to be in that?
It's hard to say because I haven't been in that situation, so I can only speak from an experience that I have now, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying is informed by what I've experienced now. But I think I'm not sure that we would have made it this far if it was like that, because I feel like I'm very like I'm either one or the other. I find it quite hard to be like in a middle ground. You're either pushing or you're not. And so to have someone who is a little bit, I wouldn't say airy fairy, but is more like takes it as it comes, doesn't really have like, isn't necessarily too bothered about time and what happens, and is very much so open to whatever happens. Whereas I get that, but I'm like, whatever happens, yeah, it does happen, but I'm going to make sure I've done everything I can to ensure does happen is in my favor. So I'm not sure that we would have made it the whole 8-year stretch almost if we were like that. But again, I can't comment because I've never experienced it. What are your thoughts?
I think I can comment because I think my relationship has been at the beginning of our, like, obviously we were together and none of us had like businesses or were into the entrepreneurship life. We were just kind of doing life and following life, I guess. And then at the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey, or whatever you want to call it, we were very different. Like we approached it very differently. It may be kind of like because it was very new to me, I was very young and I knew I wanted it, but I didn't know do you know what I mean? Like I was doing it probably at the beginning, like I'll probably admit I was doing it for the sake of, because he was doing it, so I was doing it. Like, and I'm at a stage now where I'm comfortable enough and I'm comfortable in my own ability where I can probably admit that I probably didn't take the whole property thing as serious as I should have. Not even as I should have. I just didn't. It didn't feel like it was for me at the beginning.
It wasn't a priority.
Yeah, and that I thought my life was going a different way, and it was kind of like because he was doing it, I felt okay. Well, I should do it as well, and. So I have both sides, and for me that drove like a massive wedge like between us. We were arguing,
just having different things.
Yeah, arguing all the time because we wanted different things. We had different mindsets. He was very this. Like we both wanted to be successful, and I think everyone wants success, whatever that means to them. But we just clashed, and it didn't work. So I don't think I could be with someone who didn't have the same mindset, the same values as me, because now we do. And I've grown, like it took me a little bit longer to grow into an entrepreneur and kind of be my own entrepreneur and not just be in business with someone, but actually be a businesswoman on my own for myself. And I think now, like, it's just so much better. The relationship is so much better. We're on the same page. And I can just remember all the stress of a few years ago or a year ago of not wanting the same things, having a different mindset, different priorities, different values.
Did it cause arguments?
Yeah, it was just arguments, and it's just stressful. Like I think both of us can say that we didn't really see our lives together because at the time we wanted different things and we were different people.
Your fingers are twitching.
Yeah.
I know, I can see it.
I got two little points, just two little ones. One, it sounds like the issue isn't that you wanted different things, it's that you expected or imposed.
No, it wasn't. We had different. It was two different mindsets. I don't think anything was. We both wanted to be successful, and I thought I wanted that idea of property at the time. I do now, and now I enjoy it. But it wasn't that. It was two different mindsets and two different people.
I think maybe
coming together.
The outcome that they wanted would have probably been the same, which was financial freedom and whatever. But the vehicle that they would use to get there, I guess, in your mind, was different to what her partner
at the time.
wanted.
And it wasn't until. It took growth from me and kind of just becoming my own person and realising, do you know what, you do want this, so work for it. And it was like our mindsets and our values kind of started to align. But it was having different mindsets in the beginning that was just a wedge.
Just to throw a curveball, and I want you to be quite transparent with this. Was it more so the frustration that you maybe felt like his mindset was being forced onto you, or was it more so that you followed the journey and you just so happened to grow into it?
Trust, because if he didn't impose his ideology onto you, who'd say you would have argued like you would have, and you would have just followed him?
But I don't know. But I don't think it was like, because I wanted it. But you have to remember, when I started like property, I was actually not like, I was 19. I was still at uni. Like I wanted it. Yeah, I wanted it. Like, I always knew, even before I knew about the whole world of property, that I wanted to not work, have an income that I was in charge of, and invest in property, but I didn't know how to do it. So it wasn't that. I think I was just in a complete different stage of life. My mindset was somewhere else. It wasn't, I'm a completely different person now to where I was a year or 2 years ago. And it was just having two different mindsets trying to kind of exist together. It just didn't work. It just led to clashes constantly.
So you don't think you could see yourself with someone?
But
wasn't it nice that he did with you?
Oh ho 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 ho!
No, but yeah, it was. But I think obviously Shin, you probably knew us when we were there, and he would have said, like, he said to me so many times that it's not if it's not gonna work. So I don't think he would have, because it's good now, because I have grown and there has been growth and I've grown into the person I wanted to be. But I don't think. I think even he could say he wouldn't have stayed in a relationship if that had happened and we hadn't grown.
But he must have at one point had the mindset and you didn't, and he still stuck around.
Yeah, but it's almost like it's molding the other person, isn't it? So
I'm just playing devil's advocate because I saw something that says a well-driven man can...
A what man?
A well-driven man
well-driven
can go out and raise and build a undeveloped woman, but it's not necessarily the same way around. And by the sounds of what we're saying, it sounds like it's somewhat true, that a well-driven woman can't necessarily go out with an underdeveloped man. But other way around, it happens because... I did it. I went to uni. My missus didn't.
But then is the fact that her mindset was just not yet
I wasn't
mature enough.
No, I'm not saying you're a bum. But I'm saying the same way he gave you a benefit of the doubt and could see that this is my babe. This is the one who I want to be with. Maybe she's just not there yet. Let me try and get her to where I am. Couldn't you do the same for someone else?
But no, I'm not. Like, it's not going to be a case of tomorrow. If he has a different value to mine, I'm going to be like, yep, go, like, see you later, bye. But it's after a period of time, I think you're just going to grow apart because you have different things that you want. Your mindsets are different. It's not, I'm sure, like, I don't even think he gave me the benefit of the doubt. I think it was more, obviously, you've been in a relationship for X amount of years, and this is the journey that he wants to take. If I didn't want to take that journey and I didn't want to have that mindset, although there's love and there's this and there's that, after a while you would just naturally...
I think there is truth to that because...
No, I'm there as well. When I started going out with my missus, she said to me she doesn't mind being a housewife.
Okay.
And when she said it to me, I was like semi-disgusted. Like, I was like, I don't want my woman to be like that. I want my... Because I was so... I'm going to be at the top, like CEO, own boss, whatever. And when she said that to me, it's like no. But as I grew and I developed and I started to get deeper into my relationship, I understood what a blessing, like a godsend that was. That woman was like, if you can support us, like, I'll happily take care of the house. Like, so in that instance, if this is our partnership and this is how we work, then that's how it works. Because the same way she said that to me, she said, as I want a lot of kids. She said, as long as you can afford them, I'll have them. Yeah. Like, before I was like, no, but now I understand, like, this is the girl of my dreams. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if anything, that pushes me. Because if I'm like, I want 5 kids, she's like, yeah, have them, but you got to afford them. I was like, all right then, say no more. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure. And then now she's like, I'm like, I wouldn't actually mind her being at home all day. Like, I don't actually necessarily want her to work. I don't want to have the stress. I don't want her to have all that heartache.
What if we swap the word mindset then for values? That might be an easier question to ask. So if someone had different, like, values to you, so my value might be like...
Yeah, values got what? Yeah, different values. Yes.
Like, but like success. So success is a huge, like, value to me. So in order to have success, I need to work hard. My value I like traveling, like being free. But if I have someone that, like, doesn't work, like, doesn't want the same thing, it's sort of like the same question but posed a little bit differently. Like, I want to travel, so if someone doesn't want to travel, like, how it's the same thing. Like, how do you...
I'm gonna throw a spanner here.
Let me see one point.
Which one? Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Yeah.
So the spanner is... Okay, so let's say you're dating someone, whatever, you've been together for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you as a woman want to get married, but my man don't want to get married.
Yeah, it's over then.
Why is that?
But is it?
No, I don't know. It depends, but it's want different things. It depends how much you want it. Like, if you really want something, someone really doesn't want it.
But I think then, like, again, I think we're diverging here, but
if
it's
you
such a
don't
good
get married,
conversation.
then are you gonna stay with, like, if?
No, I can't, because for me, I have non-negotiables in my life.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
Getting married is a non-negotiable.
This is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The mindsets was where you was driving off, but your values is what kept you together.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, so when I was saying how, your mindset was when you was first with Mr. Man, it was kind of like he's over here, you're over here, and you was kind of going there. But it's your values, like the things that you like to do together, like, or the things that you like to do as a person that other person shared. So the same way, like, I'm very much like, go get it, but I don't like to leave the house. Like, if I don't have to, I won't. Yeah, but my missus is the same thing. She's not as driven, but she'll stay in the yard all day, happily and, like, content. And we'll just sit there. We don't even have to talk. We can just sit there in silence and chill. And that's pure, that's bliss for me. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't need her to, now I've realised I don't need her to be the same career driven as me, because I know that when I need to chill out, babe, let's go play Nintendo Wii.
But then what
That's the good side then. But do you feel or can you see negatives that could arise from someone not sharing that drive? If you're like completely
of course,
transparent,
but
and
then
what are they like? What do you think they would be?
I think it's just work ethic and effort. I think it's just effort. That's all it is. It's just effort. But then,
But do you think there should be compassion on the side of the other person?
I don't think there should be an expectation. Why should I expect you to have the same effort as me?
Okay.
We come from different things.
Right.
We have the communicate. If we have the conversation and be like, babes, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and then she doesn't do it, then we can talk. But
isn't that an expectation?
no, because the expectation is I expect you to do it without the communication. The communication turns it into a non-negotiable, or it's what we do now. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, it wouldn't be fair of Shin to expect Mr. Man to want to get married
Without having the conversation.
But now she's told him, so it's a non-negotiable. Now they both know moving forward, this is what I'm on, personally. Like, so, like, you need to realign.
So then at what point then do you have that conversation? So for example, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're happy being a go-getter and deep down you say you're happy with your missus, like not necessarily matching you in that sense, but obviously she's balancing you out in other elements. Do you think that's something that's sustainable for the future?
100%.
I just can't get my head around it.
100%.
I cannot get my head around
100%.
it.
Because for me...
But are you, like if we're being, like, cards on the table, are you saying that now from a position where you are now, where obviously you're in love and everything's, like, do you know what I mean, all flowers and things like that? Are you, like, actually thinking, okay, we may get to a situation 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line where I am going to want this and this person doesn't want it or can't work with me to get it?
But I know that I'm going to make it regardless. So she doesn't necessarily have to make it.
Yeah, but it's not about you and her now. I feel like it's a we.
It is a we, and that's what I'm saying. And I can make it for both of us. But someone's still got to do the house things. Someone's still got to keep us balanced. Someone's still got to read the books, and I can't do everything.
Yeah.
And if we're both doing everything, there's some things being missed. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm very much the work and logic, but she's very much the yoga, spirituality. Yeah, I wouldn't be half the person I am today if she hadn't been in my life. Not even 3/4, because that element that she brings is something that transcends me and that betters me in my work.
Yeah.
And so, do I need somebody who is going to be a go-getter than me? No, because I'll just call you. I need an idea. I need a female to talk to, just to bounce ideas off. I got you. I don't need her for that. I've got my work friends. I need her to be my missus, to be my confidant. And like I said to you earlier, there's a woman called Esther Perel. She talks about love and relationship and says that the term it takes a village to raise a child was true. And now, because in the 21st century, society has become sort of independent and individualized, people are still expecting their other half to be that whole village. And so now I'm coming to the terms with, is it okay for me to expect my missus to be my confidant, my diary, my ride or die, my business partner, my joy? It's not fair, because what if she doesn't possess all those things? Nobody can possess everything. Do you know what I mean? The same way there's some things that you can't do, Mr. Man will lift you up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you balance like that. But for me, like, I need somebody to chill me out.
So then what would you say is your common ground then? At what point is your chemistry, I wouldn't say chemistry, but at what point then are you aligned, if not mindset?
We're just the best of friends.
Okay.
Like, actually, like, that is my dog. Like, my ride or die. Like, I know if I was to be in beef on road, she's jumping in with something.
Yeah.
She, without a doubt, with no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've seen her get into scraps, people bunching me. Like, she's mad. That's all I need her for. I don't need her. Because, like, okay, give me an example. Do you need anyone to do what you're doing in life right now? Realistically.
I don't think it's not
What
about...
do you mean?
Can you do your job by yourself? Do you need Mr. Man?
What job?
Your work job?
My Crystal Palace job?
Yeah.
I'd need him for support.
Exactly. So then you don't actually... So he doesn't have to be...
Yeah, but he's not my assistant.
Yeah, but he can be your support. He doesn't have to be your balance of your sort of business partner.
But I feel like
it just works because you have that entrepreneurial spirit. But doesn't have to be that person. Because like I said to you, if he sorted all your needs, yeah, and you come home, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't have to nothing. He even helps you. He's even like your assistant. And sometimes you've got to type work up on a weekend. He'll there
But
helping
for
you.
me, like that's not fulfilling for me, because if I'm out here,
So that's the question then: what fulfills you?
I think so not an all-in-one package, yeah. But I need my other half to match me
Yeah.
in pretty much all elements of life. I even want it. I don't know. I think everyone has a preference, and relationships work different for different people, and what is a standard in mine will be different to yours and so whatever. So I don't want it to come across as like, oh, this way is the only way, because clearly it doesn't, and we're really, really good friends. But I think for me, I just know what I'm like, and I would be irritated to the utmost percentage if
It's fair.
I was driving and my man's all the way outside, and I'm like, come on, mate. And he's just standing there staring at me.
But what if he's got his own purpose? What if he's got his own purpose? His own, like, what if...
Yeah, but I feel like being driven and having like being driven is not just for business and not just for entrepreneurial
That's what I'm
spirit.
saying. That's what I'm saying. So what if his purpose is something completely different that's not yours?
But
And
if he's
he doesn't-
applying drive to his purpose, I ain't got no problem
But
with
then
that.
his drive might be different. Because, for instance, my missus is a primary school teacher.
Yeah.
So when I come home, I work in a 4250 company. So my drive is completely different to hers. So when she comes home, she's all still a bit lovey-dovey, and because she's got to be tender with the kids because she's a primary school teacher.
But her drive would come from, okay, I'm a primary school teacher.
But it's
I've
not-
got to do 5 lessons in that tomorrow. So
That's
I've got to
true.
make sure that I've got the 5 lessons ready. And you know what? I've got parents' evening in 2 weeks' time. So I'm going to make sure I'm sending out emails today. Like, so I think drive can be applied to different career paths. It doesn't necessarily have to be the...
I think the better word then is purpose. Can you go out with someone who doesn't have a purpose? Because what if you was making money and Mr. Man was made redundant today?
Yeah, then...
That's
No,
what I'm
but
saying.
I don't
because
think
you
it
still
is
got
purpose.
because he's still got a purpose, so you can stay with him.
No,
don't
but some
know.
people find their purpose so late in life. Some people have to have a
Exactly, so
near-death
then-
experience.
So then why is it fair on you to expect someone to have that purpose and you do? And to
But
be
I
like,
don't expect them to have a purpose. I just expect them to be driven to whatever it is that they're doing. Whatever you want, whatever you
But if you
want
don't have
to
purpose, how
achieve
can you
in
be driven?
life. Well, you got
This-
work though, haven't you?
This is what I'm saying. It's the question about purpose rather than drive.
I don't know
Because
about purpose.
drive could be is two completely different things. Because my drive and your drive are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I've still got a mad work ethic. It's just not the same as yours. My missus still got a mad work ethic.
Yeah.
It's not the same as mine.
Yeah.
Like our drive is completely different. Like I'm studying and reading contracts and things. She's looking at I don't know. She's a
I mean,
this is terrible. She's gonna
You
kill
don't
me.
know.
She's gonna kill me. She's a primary school teacher and she deals with autistic children. So she's
Okay.
special needs primary school teacher.
yeah, so
There we go.
she might be reading up on things like that, research
Yeah.
and stuff
So
like that.
her drive it doesn't look anywhere near like mine.
No, but if she has a deadline, the drive would be making sure that you're meeting that deadline by any means necessary, right? If she's got a new...
Going like over and
Yeah,
beyond. Yeah,
if she's got a kid coming into her class who's
Okay.
severely autistic and she has to turn that project around or put together a pack or whatever by Friday, and she's got a deadline, the expectation is that she would be working to meet that deadline, right? Not coming home and then being like, oh, I had a tough day at work today.
I see.
I'm gonna chill out. While
And
you're
then
there
last minute,
with the
yeah.
same deadline on Friday, trying to turn around contracts, and she's just chilling out, milling a spliff.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, yes, it might be a question of purpose. Yes, it might be a question of values. But I think at the end of the day, like, I think if I'm going at 100 miles per hour to whatever my purpose is or whatever the end goal is, because regardless whether you've got a purpose or not, whether it's work, family, personal stuff, everyone's going to have timely goals throughout the year, right? Whether that's to lose weight or to do this or to whatever it is. So if I'm going at 100 to whatever my goal is at that period in time and you're being lapsy-daisy, then how's this working out?
Fair. Okay, let me ask you a
know what I
question.
mean?
So see how what if the roles were reversed and you had found out about property through family, and so it was just within you, and you met Mr. Man, and your drive was I'm trying to follow my family's footsteps, and he wasn't really on that. How long until you were like, no, this ain't working for me?
I can't say how long. I can't put like a time deadline on it, but I just know myself that it's not gonna be like the day I wake up someone wants something different to me or has a different mindset and I'm gonna be like, yeah, see you later, bye. That's not how it works. But there will come a time where I will just think to myself, like, I can't be with someone who doesn't have the same mindset and doesn't share the same drive. And do you know what I mean? Like, I want a lot in life.
How do you communicate to that person?
What do you mean communicate?
How do you, like, when you realise, okay, maybe their drive isn't the same as mine, and it's just, yeah, what would you say?
I think...
Would you just, like, listen, this ain't working?
No,
Time's up.
She's savage.
I'm joking.
I think it's not just like, I don't think everything culminates to one point. I think, like, if I'm thinking about it from my point of perspective, and like maybe property was within my family, and then I met and saw potential in him, I would obviously want to bring him on board, teach him some things, maybe spend time with my family, my dad or whatever, and then my dad could show him the ropes, and then he could then decide whether property was for him or not. That would be his decision. But if it's for you, then yeah, cool, let's get it together. But if it's not for you, you better have something else that you're trying to do. Because you can't just be sitting down on
and
the sofa.
have the same drive. Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're
It doesn't have to be the same thing.
Even if you're a
freaking
freaking painter, yeah? Painters only get paid when they sell a piece of art, right? So if you're sitting here just chilling out, not trying to get artistic and do one Van Gogh thing, then it's not going to work out. Because what are you waiting for?
What if he's got a drive, but he isn't really like making them sales?
But that
Then
doesn't
come
matter,
to me and let's figure out a way that we can get a plan together to increase these sales. Do you know what I mean? But it's all about that, just the panache, the way, the want.
About being proactive.
Just the innate desire. That's what it is for me. I think it's the innate desire to want more, whatever more means to whoever's watching. Okay, guys, so obviously it's been a new thing that we've done, the new high grade Chillin' Bill. And we've had a special guest. Obviously, what we like about this the most is that the conversation wasn't planned at all. We just had two kind of prompt questions and it kind of swerved, flowed, we U-turned, we did a lot. So, Shan, we'll start with you. What would be your last word, tip, piece of advice or action for the people watching? We had two kind of points, so either on how long or how many times would you give repeated advice to a friend, and maybe about sort of relationships, romantic relationships, and not necessarily being in a position where you have the same mindset, values, visions, etc.
Okay, I'll go for the first one. So how many times would you give a friend a piece of advice? And I think to that friend who is always, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I think I do that, I go to this person all the time and I don't take that advice, maybe put yourself in the position of the person that you're asking and maybe think how frustrating and annoying it may be to constantly feel like you're giving someone advice from the best place in your heart and not taking it, and then maybe not refrain from asking them, because obviously if you need advice, but just don't ignore it, because as we explained, it does get annoying, it is frustrating, and it just feels like our words are a bit wasted on people. So if you are that friend, just realise if someone's giving you advice, please try and take it. Obviously you're going to do what you're going to do, but remember that you can't keep going to people for advice if you're not taking it.
I like it.
Can I flow into that one?
Go on.
That one.
Did I give you a gem?
Yeah, you did. It's not always about having a good teacher. Sometimes it's about being a good student. And so sometimes you have
Hold on. Can we just have a moment of silence?
For the gem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes the package or the answers that you want aren't going to be packaged in the way that you want the answer to be consumed. And so sometimes you have to sit back and put your ego aside and ask yourself, do I respect myself enough to put this person in my life? And if I do, then why am I not taking their advice?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a dickhead, so I'm not gonna have people around me that are mugs. So
Yeah.
whatever they're telling me has to hold some weight. And even if I don't like it, I gotta respect my decision as a human being to make that person a friend. So it's only respectful for me to take that advice.
And then again, just flowing into what you said, I think it's very easy for us to face a problem or have a challenge, and then almost our first port of call is, oh, I've got to call so-and-so and see what they think, without even giving ourselves a moment to just digest the problem and digest this challenge. And I think sometimes we rely so much on the opinions of others and the advice that others give, when actually true growth really comes from just sitting down, reflecting, and just
Looking
understanding, okay, before I go and speak to someone who could just be a sounding board, I need to have some form of idea or I have to have some opinion of what I need to do moving forward. And then go to someone and then say, okay, so this is my problem. This is what I think I should do. What do you reckon? And then tease out, I think, that's my opinion, tease that out with someone else, because it's almost like at work, you would never go to your line manager and say, I got this problem. You'd go with the problem and some form of a solution, right? And then your line manager would then determine whether that solution is appropriate or
What I'm
not.
saying is, some people will be in that position and be like, let me go smoke something or let me drink something. But sometimes all you need to do is sit down and go into yourself and be like, what is the best course of action?
Yeah,
and a lot of the time,
definitely.
you'll get the answers.
Just 'cause we're
Thank you guys for
laughing.
tuning in. It was amazing me being here. I appreciate these two queens for setting this up and
Thanks for
just
coming.
bringing some knowledge
Yeah,
and
thanks for
insight
coming
into the
all
world.
the way from work as well.
Trust me.
Appreciate
Really
it.
I know, man.
So guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a thumbs up and give us a rating, 5 stars only. And if you are watching us on YouTube, yes, Darren, you over there, yeah, make sure you click subscribe. Please share, comment, like.
Subscribe.
Do you want to do it again? Because he's going like this. in
No,
the
it'll be funny. It'll be funny.
background.
It'll be funny.
You're like 5 stars and he's like...
It'll be funny. Keep
It's like,
it.
Do you know what?
Keep it.
Do you know what? I'm not